What's up YouTube, this is Groudon Empire and I am back for another episode of my Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire ranked singles series. The like goal for this video is 25 likes, so make sure to demolish that thumbs up like button down below. If the like goal is reached, I will continue to upload videos, so make sure to show your support for the channel. If you hit the like button but didn't reach the like goal, make sure to share this video with your friends and anyone you think might be interested so we can expand the empire and get more people to help reach that like goal. Also, the team that I will be using for this episode is on the left. Take a good look at the team, and before we even find an opponent, leave a comment down below with your vote for who you think will be the most valuable Pokemon, the MVP. After you're done watching the episode, go back and reply to that comment with another comment letting us know if you were right or wrong. Was your vote even selected? How did they do if they were picked? And who do you think deserved to be MVP if you changed your mind? Please let me know down below in the comment section, as I really am interested, and when I retire this team, I will choose the real MVP based on which Pokemon gets the most MVP votes and for the most number of episodes. I hope you guys enjoy the episode. We are coming in with a rating of 1769 directly after the last episode, so if you guys did not watch that, make sure to check that one out. That was a really nice battle, if I say so myself. And I think the MVP for that one is very obvious, but you guys should definitely check that out nonetheless. We find an opponent for this episode, and they have a rating of 1713. So again, they have a significantly less number of points, so we need to make sure to win, otherwise we're going to lose more than 15 points, which really sucks. So I'm going to take a picture and a screen cap of their team first, and then let's just check their team out. What is going on here? Alright, so Salamence, Raikou, Entei, Togekiss, Latios. I will tell you right now, Mamoswine has a party versus any lead, and if there's a Ferrothorn, Heatran can deal with that thing. Alright, and Heatran can deal with that. Heatran can also deal with Latios, and it can deal with the Togekiss. And because I have a Choice Specs Heatran, I can actually deal with the Raikou as well. 1v1. So Mamoswine and Heatran are coming 100%. Alright, they're coming 100%. Now, for the last Pokemon, see, that Salamence looks like a really big issue. Now, I need a Pokemon I can switch in and out. And because Mamoswine and Heatran do so much work, and I don't really need any other Pokemon, Cresselia is the perfect last Pokemon to bring because of Lunar Dance support, because of this being the super physical wall that it is, that it can take on the Entei and the Salamence just because. And with Trick Room, if that Salamence decides to DD up, then I can always have faster Heatran and faster Mamoswine with me. So I'm going to pick Cresselia second, and then I'm going to pick Heatran last. And the reason I pick Cresselia second over Heatran is nothing, specific. It's just I want to bring both of them. It's just I know I want to bring Heatran, but I was just thinking about other Pokemon first, because you don't want to jump to conclusions right away. Mamoswine lead for sure, and I know Heatran is really good, but at the same time, I need to see what other things are there, and then I'll decide, because I know I want to bring Heatran last, but what do I want to bring second? I just have to think about that clearly without bringing Heatran into the fray, because that might obscure my thoughts. So that was my thought process right there. Now, my opponent does start off with a Togekiss. Again, most of my opponent's leads would have been good for Mamoswine, so I'm just going to go for the Icicle Spear. And hopefully Oko? I don't know. Togekiss is pretty bulky, so maybe... Wait, what? What is this? A JABOCA Berry? Okay, hold up. A JABOCA Berry. Okay, so that's a very rare berry. First of all, if you're running a JABOCA Berry, I always think personally Rocky Helmet's the better item. Now we see that Icicle Spear KO that Togekiss, but let's go back to JABOCA Berry, because right now I'm trying to understand something. And my opponent does reveal the Entei. I'm just going to switch out into Heatran this turn. predicting a Sacred Fire, and then the turn after that I'm going to switch out into Cresselia. That way I don't have to switch in and get burned by Sacred Fire. So the Jaboca Berry, that Jaboca Berry, man, that I used Icicle Spear, and my opponent predicted the Heat Ran and went for a Bulldoze. That is some next level play. Either that, I don't have words. I'm speechless. That play was fantastic. That play was fantastic. I don't know if my opponent predicted me or if my opponent was going to do that versus Mamoswine anyway, but that was a fantastic play. That was absolutely fantastic. Kudos to my opponent for that amazing play. But you know, Cresselia, I'm pretty sure it can 1v1 an Entei. So, you know, I can Trick Room, I can Psychic, I can Moonlight. I don't even have to Trick Room. Like, right now it's too early to Trick Room. But I mean, I can do that whenever. So, forget about the battle. Like, you guys watch the battle, obviously. But I'm just going to... And I'm counting the Sacred Fires on my finger right now. I'm not going to tell you guys. You guys should count the PP of my opponent's moves as well, because I have only 8 Moonlight PP, and then I have to deal with the damage, potential crits, and then also burn damage. So I'm counting that, you know, when I'm thinking about my Moonlights as well. So I got 2. He used 2 Sacred Fires so far. I don't know if he's PP maxed or not, but again, I just have that with me. Now, I know he's Assault Vested because most are definitely Assault Vested. Either that or Banded, and I'm sure this guy is Assault Vested. But let's go back to the Jaboca Berry. Jaboca Berry did damage to my Mamoswine, even though I used Icicle Spear, which Rocky Helmet does not do damage to because Icicle Spear is a non-contact move. So I believe Jaboca Berry does the same amount of damage a Rocky Helmet would do, you know, 1/8, which is like 12.5% of your total HP, if you use a, not contact, but if you use a physical move. If you damage a Pokemon that's holding Jaboca Berry with a physical move, you will receive a 1/8% damage. No, not percent, but 1/8, maybe percent. 1/8 of your HP will be gone due to that, and the Jaboca Berry will be used up. Now, the only real reason I see for that, and I don't know why my opponent went for Flame Charge, but anyway, they helped me out by getting that Rocky Helmet damage. That's all I'm saying. Guys, you shouldn't do that. Anyway, the Jaboca Berry, I see its usage as being an item to break sashes on Pokemon like a Mamoswine, a potential Focus Sash Mamoswine, which is really common, probably the most common item on Mamoswine. You would break that Focus Sash on them just by getting hit by the non-contact ice attacks. So it makes sense only for that specific reason, you know, for sashed Pokemon that don't have physical contact moves. You would use a Jaboca Berry on your Pokemon that you want to end up resulting in your opponent's Pokemon to lose their Focus Sash. But I think that's way too specific. But nonetheless, my opponent has 1713 points, so with over 1700 points, let me tell you this, that means anything you do, in my opinion, is very viable. Not just viable, very viable, because you can't get up there unless you're using a strategy that you're using, you know, move sets. You're using stuff that's good enough to get you there, you know, because 1700 plus is pretty decent. You know, it's you know, the higher you are, obviously the better, but you know, if you can break 1700, you're probably doing stuff right. All right, so my opponent, it's creative, I'll tell you that much. It's so creative, and it's nice. I like it, I approve it, and I would not recommend it, but again, if you're gonna be creative and win like that, yo, great, do that all day. You can run that. You know, I'm running a Choice Specs Heat Ran. Who runs a Choice Specs Heat Ran? Look at the usage data. Seriously, who runs Choice Specs Heat Ran? So, you know, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you're winning with it, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I've never seen a Jaboca Berry in my entire life. So that's just very, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. But my opponent right now is not in a good situation, and the fact that they did not bring a the Ferrothorn out yet, or the Latios, I can tell you right now they don't have the Latios and they don't have the Ferrothorn. There's no way you're leaving Entei in versus Cresselia to 1v1 it when you know that, when you see all the stuff, all the struggling that Entei is having versus Cresselia. You're not going to do that unless you have, you're not doing that unless you want to weaken it for Salamence, or you don't have. First of all, you're not going to have Ferrothorn or Latios, otherwise you would have brought them in a million turns ago, alright? And second of all, regardless of which Pokemon he has in the back, if he has a Raikou or a Salamence, Salamence wants to come in versus a weakened Cresselia so then he can just destroy it. Or be able to set up and then destroy it next turn. And if he has a Raikou, he doesn't want Cresselia to faint, and he doesn't want to get too much. He doesn't want to get a potential Spadef drop once the Raikou switches in. He wants to have maximum HP and bulk, so he can set up substitutes and Calm Minds easily versus Cresselia. So yeah, he either has a Salamence or a Raikou. He does not have a Latios or a Ferrothorn, I know that much. And so if I lost my Heatran, honestly, that would have been fine. I don't really need it at this point. At this point, because I know, right, he doesn't have a Ferrothorn or a Latios, but earlier if I lost Heatran, I would have been worried, but even then it wouldn't have mattered. But if I rage quit earlier because Heatran would have died, not me specifically, I don't do that. I never rage quit, because if you rage quit, you're not going to find battles online, and you can never rank up ever again. So don't rage quit, guys. Never do that. But I'm saying that anybody else, if they rage quit on that turn, they wouldn't be able to continue to play and see that they can still, nab the game, because any of the Pokemon, Raikou or Salamence, and we see a Raikou comes in as the Entei is gone versus the Cresselia, and I'm just going to switch out into Mamoswine. Mamoswine has a party versus my opponent's entire team other than Ferrothorn. And it is a substitute Calm Mind set because it has substitute, and I'm pretty darn sure it has Calm Mind. Now, I don't know if it has Hidden Power Ice or Shadow Ball or even Hidden Power Grass, but even with Hidden Power Grass, he's not going to beat me. I am Choice Scarfed, and I have Earthquake, and I am a Mamoswine, so I win the game. My opponent should honestly just forfeit at this point, but something that my opponent can try to do is PP stall my Earthquakes, and then he's still going to die, so I don't understand why he would do that, but maybe he'll give it a try. Because I have 16 Earthquakes. That means I have 8 Earthquakes. And my opponent can only make 5 substitutes if they're EV'd properly. And the fact that I'm faster, as you guys saw, since I have a Toy Scarf, means my opponent really cannot take advantage of Earthquake no matter what. Unless maybe they have Protect, but they don't run Protect. So right now my opponent is sticking with it, even after all this time, even after all of this. I guess if they're going to stick that long with Entei, they don't want to just quit without trying, so they're going to try. But I just told you guys the math, you see how much PP I have. And even if I wasn't PP maxed, I would have 10 PP, which is equivalent to 5 after pressure, and I can still break all of those substitutes and probably still win by the last Earthquake, or even not even Earthquake. I'll just do Struggle and I'll win, So yeah, Mamoswine has this in the bag, and I love Raikou. Raikou is my favorite Pokemon, one of my favorites. Groudon, obviously, and then Charmeleon, and then Raikou. So in terms of legal Pokemon, my favorite Pokemon is Charmeleon, like legal in like normal Nintendo rules. It would be Charmeleon, who's my favorite. You guys know how competitively viable Charmeleon is, right? So my favorite competitive Pokemon is actually Raikou. Now my team doesn't have a Raikou, but that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have my favorite. Can't be Raikou. My favorite is Raikou, and Raikou is not exactly the most offensive of Pokemon out there, so it's a bit tricky to use Raikou really well. I do have a team with Raikou. I never actually use. I'll probably, I'll probably bring that interesting team after I'm done with this one. So I don't know when that will be. That team has an Altaria, has a Raikou, has a Mega Altaria, by the way, a Raikou, And then it has other stuff that I don't remember. Probably a Ferrothorn. I don't know. But this team, this team is so fun to use, and I'm doing so well with it. As you guys can clearly see, that I'm hoping that this team can take me to 2,000. And once and this Raikou's down, there's a part of my heart that aches, but at the same time, I'm so happy. Anyways, that is it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed what you watched. Thank you guys all for watching. Remember to leave your comments in the comment section for the MVP. This was Groudon Empire. Peace out.